the tail end of the campaign in the midterms.
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me.
And why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep...
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. They have to come and get through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need people.
Your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
That's true.
But
they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. These were people. This was an actual. It happened a few days ago. And
they're hundreds of miles away. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. Right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have...
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation? Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. That's fucking Donald Trump, man. I love that clip, man. Pull up an oldie but a goodie. An oldie but a goodie. Welcome everybody. Mark Conte reporting on what is the first day of Election Day in New York City. Look at this, man. I got my package. I showed it to you yesterday. This shit is crazy, man. Early voting, October 24th. That's today. All the way to November 1st. We have free and fair elections. I know. I know. I'm not. Look, it doesn't. I don't believe, that it's a free and fair election. I don't believe that at all. I just think that it's fun to walk into a voting station and say, I may just do that. I may make a video. Say, hello, excuse me, I'm here to vote for Donald J. Trump. Can I have a Trump ballot, please? Go in there and film that shit. Just excuse me, where are the Trump ballots? Is there Trump ballots, please? I'm here to cast one vote for Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States, over the shit sandwich Joe Biden. Where would I just go in there and just turn the whole fucking thing upside down, man? It could be fun, man. You could have a good time, right? You got to have a good time with the rigged election, right? Because they're being dickheads, right? Hold on a second. They're being fucking they're losers and frauds, right? The whole fucking thing is a fraud, right? And so you go in and you have fun with it, right? You pull your dick out and you have a good old time with it, right? So election day, right? Election day. There's a lot of other stories. The Pope is on the fire, and science, right? Remember when science? We believed in science. Remember science? Newton's law of physics and Einstein and science, right? When people, smart people, put their minds to discovering something that we didn't know, and we call that science. We call that we have scientific inquiry. But now the science is pay for play. Right? We pay for people to find something that we need them to find, so that we can sell you something or convince you of something that you wouldn't ordinarily be convinced of. Right? So science versus, I don't know, common sense. What's on the other side of it? I don't even know what the title of this thing was. So what did I title this? I forgot. Right. So science versus experts. That's what an expert says. An expert, a scientist, sometimes the expert, that's the best of both worlds. When the expert is the scientist, like Dr. Fauci, he's a science. He's using science and he's an expert. Wow, he must be important. But him too, he's rigged too. The whole fucking shit is rigged, right? All traditions in America, all traditions around the world are failing. You feel it? Can you feel it? Can you dig it? Can you understand that traditions, just like, going to church in the morning is now something of a where you're going to go there and you're going to be around those people and probably get sick. You've been convinced. Is this all going to go away in 2 years? A year, 2 years? I don't think so. Once you crash a tradition, once you break someone's habitual attachment to something, they attach to other things. Right? So what you used to do for fun, go to the bar, listen to the band, is now something that something of the past. Right? It's something a relic. It's something of historical proportion. That's all I'm saying is that I think this COVID-19 thing really crashed religion. It crashed traditions of all kinds. And that's all I want to say. I'm fucking in the deep grass, man. I better get out of this fucking shit before it's too late, man. So, welcome everybody in the chat. Vinny DiMartini. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? What's up, my brother? My brother. JB is here. Terry Miller. Jason Walsh, Liz Rivard, Chris Milk. Chris Milk is here. Gene Burke. Gene Burke. Hello, Gene Burke. Hello, Gene Burke. Dead Game, Terry Miller. Terry Miller is in the house. And Raymond Duncan. So, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning here in New York City. It's a beautiful, I don't know where you are in the world, but I could tell you, in New York City, it's been cloudy and 60, and I love it. I love it. I love it when it's when you're not stressing over the heat and it's just really nice. It's really nice weather in New York. Fall, autumn in New York. And again, I said yesterday, my days are numbered. I'll be pulling out very soon. By the time the election, November 3rd rolls around, I'll already be somewhere else, and I'll tell you more about that. And don't kid yourself for a minute. Don't think that Conte's running away from anything. No, I'm running towards it. Let me tell you something. I'm running towards the fire. What I'm doing is only going to get more and more intense. That's the idea, to have more time devoted, more space, more room to breathe. Right? I can still come into the city. I'm only an hour or 2 or 3. I'm not going to give it away, but a few hours away from New York City. In rural area, in a rural mountainous area, a little city-ish, and so I could always I'll always be in striking distance of New York City. I can drive in. I could also drive to Philly. I'm kind of closer, in that, between those areas. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm just up in my game, right? And as this thing grows, I could be in a position to travel, right? Which I've done before. I've done, I did Nevada, on the back of viewers like you who made that possible, who donated. I said I wanted to go to Vegas and cover Bernie Sanders, and boom, the money piled in. So kindly become a Patreon of this channel. That's why I'm over here. All of this stuff takes, I have one focus. My one focus is this right here. This is what I do. It's only an hour or 2 a day, but this is what I do, and I do it for the greater good. That's what I do. So kindly become a Patreon of this channel, tip jar, through PayPal or Patreon, ongoing support, and thank you very much. And if ever YouTube, we disappear from YouTube, mysteriously, suddenly I'm not there anymore, just go here and you'll find where we are, right? If it's right now we're on YouTube, but sometimes we get pushed into BitChute or the B channel. So no worries, right? As other platforms evolve, also I'm looking into the going the way of InfoWars, where you actually house the videos on your own site so that they're untouchable. It's in my own domain. Fuck you. You don't like my videos? Don't come there. So you get out of the pocket of YouTube, right? So anyway, good morning, everybody. Let's start here. Vatican So we have this dust up, a dust up gay blade. Is it gay? Is the Pope gay? Would it matter? Who cares? What the old man in the this guy is he secretly a homosexual? He likes boys and men. I don't know. Who cares? What do I care? I would care if he's a pedophile. That's bad news. But is he a homosexual? Why is he suddenly? Why is the Pope, not pulp, the Pope suddenly being nice to gays and saying, "Oh yeah, they're family. They have rights and privileges too. Human beings. They're human." The Pope is humanizing gays, and I talked about this the other day. But the Vatican themselves and the conservative branch of the Catholic Church is also pushing back, saying that it's they don't know what to make of it. So Vatican's silent after. I think it's a good thing. My position on this is always freedom of choice for people, whatever it is. If it's gay or straight or regardless of color and creed and all that stuff. I don't. None of that bothers me. I look at merit. Right. I look at the content of one's character. The good versus bad, evil versus not evil. Right? And so I think the Pope's decision to let gays into the fold is a good thing. Pope Francis has once again shaken up the Vatican with his progressive politics, but this time, instead of weighing in on economic matters with little consequence to the Vatican, like the morality of capitalism, which the Pope has frequently attacked in his sermons, it seems he has touched a nerve by appearing to endorse same-sex marriage, a position the Church has vehemently opposed. Bloomberg reported that the Vatican's massive media apparatus has gone silent and that all the Pope's spokespeople aren't returning reporters' calls while struggling to formulate a statement of their own. It appears they were as taken aback by the Pope's comment as millions of practicing Catholics. I like it, man. Catholic leader. This is leadership. This is what leadership looks like. Catholic leaders condemn Pope Francis's endorsement of same-sex unions. Francis' support for same-sex unions is being openly criticized by several Roman Catholic leaders in America who say his recently revealed pro-gay remarks cause confusion and error and fly in the face of church teachings. We can tear down people's traditions that they like church gatherings or I don't know, praying to the wall 3 times a day or fucking jumping on a pogo stick, whatever your tradition is, or praying and meditating is, it's your tradition, right? Or it's your religion. It's whatever you call it, right? Those are good. But once someone says they're gay, that flies in the face of a church teaching. What does the fucking church teach? The church is supposed to teach all men are created equal, all children of God, except if you're a fucking homo. Then you're not allowed in the house, right? What, fly in the face of church teachings? Where? Confused and error, right? Pro-gay remarks caused confusion and error. No, they cause clarity. You should be clear now. You should be clear. Right? The pontiff is communicating directly with God. He's to the right of Jesus. Right? The Pope. If you don't know the history of the Pope is to the right. Is one of the first apostles, and you could trace it all the way back to Jesus. Right through the Pope. The Pope was in charge of the church. And I think the first one was Saint Anthony or Saint Patrick. I don't know the fucking popes. I don't know the saints, but one of the saints is a direct descendant of the Pope. It's a lineage. It's an untouched lineage all the way back to Jesus. That's why the Pope is so revered. And of course, the evangelistics the other Christian, worshipers of Jesus will say, "Oh, no, that's not true. That's not accurate." But it actually is. Throughout, from I don't know how it got from how it went. I guess through the Roman Empire, it made its way from Israel over to Italy. Then not Italy at the time, but the Roman Empire. So anyway, but the Pope's on the right track, man. I think he's 83. 83 years old, Pope Francis. Wow, he did a great thing, man. So they cause wonderment and error regarding the church's teaching among people of goodwill, who sincerely wish to know the Catholic Church's teachings, he said. Some jack-off cardinal said that. They impose upon pastors of souls the duty of consciousness to make fitting and necessary clarifications. What the fuck are you talking about, you? What are you talking about? You're gay. You're gay. Here's the man. Listen to the boss. Listen to the boss, Cardinal. All right? That's what I said, man. So, moving right along. What's up, everybody? How we doing, man? Are we still broadcasting? Yeah, we're still here, man. So, Trump's going to win 2020. I don't think... I'll go on record. I wasn't here in 2016, right? I was doing other things. Actually, I was playing guitar. I had gotten kicked out of a city job for exposing corruption. I exposed the illegal ticket quotas in New York City as a sanitation enforcement agent. That's how I got so famous. And I was on the news, and I was on ABC covered it. I was on fake news, blowing the fucking high horse whistle on the Department of Sanitation for having an illegal ticket quota that stole, I don't know, $600 million from city residents over a 30-year period. And I was able to expose that using auto technology. I recorded the supervisors instructing it. Now, it's highly illegal. You can argue that ticket quotas are just getting people to do their job, but not really, because ticket quotas, as in arrest quotas, are highly illegal for very good reason. They cause police to go out and find crime and find tickets that don't ordinarily exist. So I was able to do that, and that's how I got my start. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Why does anybody even care anymore? Anyway, so I totally forgot what the point I was trying to make. But anyway, Trump says he now identifies as a non-denominational Christian. Wow, you heard? I thought he was a Presbyterian. Right? What brand of Christian is he? What brand of Catholic or I guess it's all Christianity. Right? What brand is he? Now he's non-denominational Christian. President Trump has long identified as a Presbyterian, now considers himself a non-dominational Christian. Whoa, big news, right? It's big news for the Prez, right? I wonder if Trump prays. I wonder if Trump believes any religion. I tend to wonder if he does. I think he has probably a very, basic understanding of it, because it's not part of his vernacular. It's not part of... Trump doesn't say God much or spirituality much or I need to find quiet time to reflect or contemplate. You don't hear Trump talking about that shit. He's just out there fucking attack or defend. But nonetheless, Trump is now a official non-denominational Christian. Trump wrote, though I was confirmed as a Presbyterian at a Presbyterian church as a child, I now consider myself a non-denominational Christian, Trump wrote. So confirmed in Catholic is the confirmation. Right? You receive a communion and then a confirmation. I didn't do any of that shit as a kid. I walked away from all that shit. And although my grandparents and my mother and everybody, they were all Roman Catholics, and they would push you on Sunday to go to Sunday school, because I went to public school. And then on Sunday school, you would go and you would learn about the saints and the sinners and and God and all that stuff. And I fucking ran from that shit, man. I'm like, I don't like this, man. I don't. It feels creepy. It feels fake. It feels like a fairy tale. It feels like as a young kid, I was able to. and again, I'm not bashing anyone's religion. I'm telling you what it felt like for me. It just felt like a sham and a ripoff. Although God exists, these stories didn't match reality for me as a young child. And I cried, I don't want to go to this shit. I don't want to fucking go Sunday school, man. That shit fucking scary, man. Those nuns, they want to beat your ass. The nuns used to beat you, right? They just smack you around, right? So anyway, is this just politics for the Trumpster? You know, trying to reach his hand into the evangelistic people in the middle of the country that would identify as a non-denominational Christian. Out of all the different brands of Christianity, and now so Trump is now on that team. He's turned his back on the Presbyterians. What does the Presbyterian even mean? What does Presbyterian mean? Is a part of the Reformed tradition within the Protestantism, which traces its origins to Great Britain, specifically Scotland. Presbyterian churches derive from the name Presbyterian form of church government, which is governed by representative assemblies of elders. Is Presbyterian Catholic or Protestant? The Presbyterian Church is Protestant Christian. So whatever, man. It's all, how many different ways to Jesus, right? That's all it is, right? So Nancy Pelosi, it seems, is the culprit. Trump and Mnuchin, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary of the United States, appointed by Trump, has said that they have smacked the ball they have tossed the ball into Nancy Pelosi's court. The ball is in Nancy Pelosi's court regarding stimuli, regarding giving stimulation to the American people. So Nancy Pelosi keeps saying, give me a deal. They can't give us a good deal. So how dare you say that Trump is better and knows what he's doing? How dare you? Right? And that's Nancy Pelosi's, waiting. They're waiting for November 3rd to pass so that they could drop all this COVID-19 crap and offer stimulus that people really fucking need at this time. I'm all for stimulus. I believe in universal basic income. I think that people should have a backdrop, minimal, not a lot, not living fucking large large, but not starve. We should evolve to a society where human beings in a culture shouldn't have to starve to death. Food stamps, for example, is a great idea. Or basic medical coverage. It shouldn't be, that's all. Just the very, very basics and some basic spending money. I believe in a society. That's not communism. That's not socialism. That's not capitalism. That's a fair and just place. But right now, we don't really have that. We have a push and pull, a system of negotiation between two very, very corrupt parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, fighting over how much pork is in the package. Nancy wants the pork, the extra cash to flow into the Democratic donors, right? Give them money. And Trump is trying to get the corporations to get a little grease in the palm. Right? They're all fucking phonies, right? Just give a stimulus to the people. Whenever you're giving money directly to the American people, you're going to stimulate the economy. When you give it to banks, 95% of that goes in their pocket and they save it for a rainy day. Anybody making millions and millions of dollars a year, and you give them stimulus, they're not stimulating the economy, unless of course it's a corporation going down the tubes, like small businesses, restaurants, and such. But anyway, Trump Mnuchin say bill is in Pelosi's court in COVID-19 stimulus negotiations. Remember, the Democrats screamed from the rooftops, shut everything down. Many, many, many Republicans did the same. Everybody did it in the beginning. They said, shut it down. We don't know what it is. Shut it down. Shut everything down so it doesn't spread. And now we know differently. We know that it's not very toxic at this point. It doesn't kill a lot of people. You get a little sick and it passes, right? But it killed a lot of people. It killed a lot of the traditions, as I said before. It killed tradition. It killed it killed businesses. People that worked their whole lives to create a business. It killed that shit, right? And So you got to pay people. You got to pay people. You got to reimburse people for their pain because they didn't decide to do it. You did, and you're continuing to do it. So when the Democrats shake their angry finger and say that Trump caused the loss of, tens of thousands of jobs, no, that was the Democrats doing it, still doing it, and not paying people properly, not giving people the reimbursement that they need because, look, you either do two things. You either lock everything down and pay people, or you get the fuck out of the way and let things happen like they did in Sweden and they do in most places where they have very, very low infection rates. Right? So Nancy Pelosi, President Trump and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on Friday accused House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of hijacking COVID-19 economic relief by spurning their offers of urgently needed stimuli. So what's the numbers? Let's look at the numbers. The Trump administration raised their most recent offer of $1.8 trillion with a T, but that is still significantly lower than the Democrats' $3.3 trillion starting point. What the fuck are they going to do with $3.3 trillion? You don't need, if you gave everybody in America $1,200, right? That's all they're going to get. That's maybe a $500 billion. That's like $400 billion. That's a lot of money, but it's not $3.3 trillion. Where is all that pork, that extra spending, that excess going? Why don't you just cut the $1.8 trillion now so people can get their money, and then you can fight over the excess later, right? But no. They're going to do it. They're going to hold it up, because all the Democratic spin is that it's Trump's fault that the economy is going down the toilet. But the evidence on the table is that the Democrats are locking down states, New York, California. Every democratically run state has enormous, ridiculous, illogical, rules to prevent businesses from opening up. So there's Mnuchin, who I'm not a fan of. I think he's a shill. I don't like his foreign. I don't like how he jumped on the Venezuela stuff or choking the Middle East. I don't really, or his involvement with the IMF. I don't like Steve Mnuchin, but he is Trump's right hand, and he's a Goldman Sachs plant. He's totally, unequivocally, 100% in the pocket of corporations. That's his whole mind frame. That's who he is. He rose in the ranks of Goldman Sachs. And if you don't know what's required of you to do that, you should look into it. It's very, very hard, very difficult. Guys like Lloyd Blankfein, guys like Henry Paulson, who was Bush's Bush Jr.'s Treasury Secretary, also Goldman Sachs. Obama's guy, what was his name? I forgot the guy's name, but Obama's initial Treasury Secretary was also Goldman Sachs. All three of them. It's just a lineage of corrupt bankers running the Treasury. But nonetheless, that's the deal right now. So Nancy Pelosi is not looking so good right now. She's looking a little like what the fuck, right? But I don't know. Again, the spin machine is very powerful. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, everybody, Google, Twitter, Facebook, everybody plugging the dead guy. Get fucking Biden. We want Biden. Trump's bad. Orange men bad. Why are they plugging? Because they want more. See, look at this. This is probably the deal right here, right? This is probably the corporate deal right here, right? You can look at it this way. Trump and Mnuchin want to cut the $1.8 trillion because they know where it's going. It's going into the pockets of America. And the Democrats are probably guaranteeing the corrupt corporations a $3.3 trillion deal if Biden gets in. So the corporations are probably gambling on the Democrats because that money is going to go in their pocket. That's the payoff. That's the shakedown of the American Treasury, because debt doesn't matter anymore. We just keep running up debt. Our debt is, $35 trillion. We're never going to pay that shit back. We're living in a new times. We're living in a collapsing capitalist society where the economy is supported by fake money, a fiat money system where we just keep printing money. We need money. Oh, we print it. We don't earn it. We don't pay it back. We just give it to the banks at 0 or 1% interest, or pay the banks to loan it out. Right, goes negative 0 interest. Some banks, and then they loan it to people like you and me for 18% on a credit card, 12%. You know, the mortgages are actually very low, but then they jack up the taxes. They give you a low mortgage of, mortgages could be less than 5% right now. Some of them are like, less than 3% mortgage rates. But then they jack up the tax. So you get that low mortgage, and then the other half is taxed. Right? So they're fucking you that way. Taxes tripled under Trump. Property taxes. Why? So anyway. So here's another one. This is fucked up. So getting into this business of science versus expert, which there doesn't seem to be any line, right? I say science and expert are on one team. Science and experts are on one team, and the other side of it is holistic, taking care of yourself, taking care of each other. Now that sounds wooey, and that sounds like that's, yeah. You say that now, but if you're on your deathbed, you're going to want that doctor to give you that fucking pill. Well, not really. You want to be independent of the medical profession. You certainly don't want to be a patient today of the medical profession and being on 6 different medications, 6 different poisons to eradicate your symptoms that are a direct result of your poor behavior towards yourself, your poor treatment of yourself. I was just talking this morning to some guy in the corner. I said, when you sit up straight, some of the reasons, behind sitting straight or standing up straight is that you breathe better, right? And a lot of times people are in a place where they don't feel well. Their mind is clouded. It's because they're not breathing. They don't know how to breathe. They don't really, or drink enough water. Sometimes that's all it really is. It's just enough water and enough breathing and enough exercise and proper food. That's all it really is to feel better. And then, of course, you discover meditation where you can quiet down the mind, balance the body, balance the mind. But here, as if we never knew it, as if it was a revelation from God himself has spoken, that vitamin D can help fight COVID-19. But that vitamin D can help. And where do we get vitamin D? You can ingest it in vegetables and foods, but you got to go outside. Right? Human beings have lost their contact to nature. Most people don't get enough vitamin D. Why? Because they're shy. Literally, because they don't want to go outside, especially in a city. Excuse me. And I burped in your face. That wasn't right. That just slipped out. Is that most people most people that gather in a city don't get enough light because there's just when you go outside with just short sleeves and even a short sleeve shirt and shorts on, you're not getting enough. You need to boom, you need to brown, you need to bake in the sun for about a half an hour, shirt off, right? You need to do that, right? And most people don't, and that's clinical depression stems from that. Even in the wintertime, even now, you want it. The best time to absorb the sun is the dead of summer, right? You get the ultraviolet rays are strongest. Right now, they get a little weaker as the planet, turns on an axis, but it's still there. But here's a report. It's plugging vitamin D as if this is a fucking new discovery, and because it's related to COVID-19, Let's talk about it. Now you'll see doctors prescribing vitamin D, right?
Some intriguing research about a possible link between COVID-19 outcomes and vitamin D, something that most Americans, and especially people of color, are severely lacking. Known as the sunshine vitamin, it's produced by the body in response to sun exposure and found in some foods like fish, eggs, and fortified dairy and grains. Tonight we bring in Dr. L. Ray Matthews, who studies vitamin D. He's a recently retired...
This guy looks like a fish, doesn't he? Doesn't he have like fish eyes? Like he looks like he looks like an insect. I don't know why. I was watching, I was like, this guy's a fish.
Retired trauma surgeon and researcher at Morehouse School of Medicine and Grady Hospital, Atlanta. Thanks so much for joining us, doctor.
Thank you for having me.
So as a trauma surgeon in an inner city hospital, you saw some of the worst injuries imaginable. What happened when you decided to administer large doses of vitamin D at prescription levels?
Well, after we started giving vitamin D, which is really
That's a mistake for people that are out in the sun. You don't have to do that. Your body, after a half an hour, your body will create as much vitamin D as you need, as it can possibly store. You don't want to go overboard. See right there, medical profession, more prescription level. What the fuck does that mean? Stay out in the sun, eat a variety of foods. You know, eat the foods that contain vitamin D or kickstart the production of it in your own body, and get out in the fucking sun. Right? Do it every day. What's the big deal? Go shirtless for 30 minutes a day. Right? Shirtless. Vitamin D time. Right? Ring the bell at work. Everybody steps out into the street, and because you're fat, if you are fat and out of shape, good. You humiliate yourself. You get a little humiliation while you're at it. Right? So you're not so now if you want your vitamin D and you want to look good, you better lose some weight, right?
a hormone. So it's a hormone, is not a true vitamin. So hormones work different from vitamins.
So now they're calling vitamin D a hormone, right? Now next you'll see next they'll try to regulate it. That's what they did with in the 80s. They found that L-tryptophan. You remember L-tryptophan? It was contained in turkey and in other places as well. It's one of the B vitamins, and it had a very calming effect. Once science realized that L-tryptophan had a calming effect, they pulled it off the market. You couldn't go buy tryptophan in a health food store anymore because it had a calming effect. You motherfuckers, right? That's what they do, right? And now you can get it through prescription. You have to go visit a doctor to get a nutrient, L-tryptophan. That's what they're probably going to do now. They're calling it a hormone. Watch out, vitamin D, stock up.
Vitamins are just spark plugs and make reactions go at a faster rate. Vitamin or hormone D controls 3,000 out of the 30,000 genes in the human body. Among those,
this is so. I'm just playing it because it's so ridiculous that you have to re-educate people on vitamin D, as if it's a new discovery. Like, it's not a fucking new discovery that vitamin D has a healing effect. It's not new.
For your immune response system and your inflammatory response system. Those two are very important.
See, we get some sun right there. Right? She's getting some sun, man. See, that's what you get. When you're out in the sun, you get some of that, right?
Those two are very important for a surgeon because my job is to reduce infection and reduce inflammatory responses.
Now, everyone needs vitamin D, but you say that half the world's population actually has a deficiency. Would we all be healthier and able to heal faster if we...
Half the world has a vitamin D deficiency? Why? Where's that? Where'd you get that statistic? Maybe it's because of the cities and people covered up. People covered in clothes. Take your clothes off.
Took vitamin D supplements?
Yes, we would. Actually, we decrease the hospitalization of our patients.
Yes. Take your clothes off.
Their length will stay about
Don't swallow it. Get out
4
in the
days
sun.
on the floors and the ICUs. So our patients heal faster. They had fewer infections, fewer heart attacks, fewer strokes. They got well and came back to clinic, and most of them didn't want any narcotics. And most of them went back to work, and they were actually productive paying.
How boring, right? So where's the COVID-19 stuff? I didn't hear a single fucking thing about.
Understand the mechanism, you can kill anything, basically.
So COVID-19, though, in particular, what's your thought as it pertains to vitamin D?
way COVID works is that what vitamin D does is, like I said, it's a hormone, so it increases your white blood cell count. White blood cells are the thing that fight off the bacteria, the viruses, and fungus. For the medical,
I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition. I was a clinical nutritionist. So for me, this is funny to hear this idiot. This is an expert. That's the theme of the show. Experts versus scientists is now calling vitamin D a hormone. How goddamn ridiculous. Now, it is once it's manufactured in your body, but certainly not. It's just so fucking, it's such a play on words. Right? And now they're saying hormone therapy in the form of vitamin D is probably a good thing for COVID-19. Yeah, it probably is. Take a multivitamin and mineral. Goodbye, Mr. Fish. So what else we got? So let's talk about this for 1 second. Expert worship is ruining science. Expert worship. Do we worship experts? What does that mean? Do we worship experts? Do we worship our... We do. We definitely do. We that guy's an expert, so we worship him. We follow his lead. Dr. Fauci said, and the majority of the sheep in the country will follow the expert. I need an expert opinion. Right? People say that. Are you an expert? Everybody's an expert. If you're not an expert, then your opinion doesn't matter. And what the fuck qualifies as an expert? Right? What you do, I guess, daily for a living. Like, what am I, an expert on dick jokes, or what am I? I'm no fucking expert. I'm just a guy who talks, right? But because I do one thing, and this is, I guess I'm an expert YouTube guy, expert. We're all experts. We got to ask the expert what they think, as if everybody else's, everybody else's opinion doesn't matter. Right? World of experts. So, what is science? Has it changed from past to present? Is it still working? Well, you just saw Mr. Fish Eyes, the doctor, say that vitamin D has somehow miraculously transformed into a hormone, from a vitamin to a hormone. So that's science? What science is that based on? It's an opinion. The coronavirus pandemic has put a spotlight on the question of science as a whole, and biology and drug research in particular. Well, it puts a spotlight on it for people that don't know what the hell they're looking at. But biology hasn't changed in probably 5 million years. And drug research already took it down, was going fucking downhill after the 80s, after the nutrition boom, the awakening, the awakening towards exercise and eating right that occurred probably in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. That's when it really started, right? Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. There's not a lot of great stories today. That's why I'm kind of like kicking the can down the road here. But thanks everybody for joining me, man. We're having a good time, man. We're having a good time. We're looking at current events, right? That's what this channel is. I'm current events. I'm Mr. Current Events. I'm like the the class in high school. You remember current events? Oh, I fucking love that shit, man. I love current events, man. I love to see what's going on in the world and know what other people are thinking and saying. Current events. Right? That's what this is. So what is this? What are we reading here? So experts, right? We need experts. Do we need fucking experts, or should they all just get to the back of the line? Now, the popular narrative is that if only we listened to the scientists, we would have prevented this. Presumably contrasting scientists against politicians and perhaps some unspecific non-expert others. Now, can anybody say that experts and scientists are not paid shills? No, you can't say that. Are there honest scientists and honest experts? Somewhat, but their education is stacked on a pile of lies. It was one of the reasons I left the nutrition field, is because I realized that the research that I was reading, the academic research that was conducted in universities, was totally fucking fake and fudged and in support of the pharmaceutical industrial complex. And I got out of that. Hospitals were treating illness. They weren't promoting health. I saw it I had a fundamental difference of opinion at 17 years old. I said, no, The medical profession is inaccurate. It's stacked with experts and scientists that are on the fucking payroll. Like that fish guy, like the fisheye guy right there, saying that vitamin D is now a hormone and they're going to try to take away your vitamin D. That's what they're going to do. So experts and, what is a fucking expert? What is science? Science is real. Of course, science. Science is, I think that we can all see science. I mean, again, I'm of the strand of people that what goes on in the universe goes on within. Right? Infinity goes both ways. If you haven't figured that out yet, we can travel. Right? I'll say it. Right? If infinity goes both ways, what does that mean? Infinity. If you traveled into space infinitely, forever, would you eventually hit an end? Would you hit a wall? Right? The end. Oh, there it is. We've arrived at the end. Or, well, if there is an end, then where does the end end? What's on the other side of the wall? Right? Where does the wall end? If there is no ending, then we can say that we can travel infinitely into space infinitely. Right? Are we unable to see that there might be a wall out there? But there's always got to be something on the other side. For every barrier, there's something on the other side. Something, even if it's nothing, a solid space. There has to be something there. I think we can all agree on that. Now, on the other side is infinitely smaller particles. I bet you never thought about that. That we think of traveling into space infinitely outward. But why do we think of ourselves as the smallest particle, the smallest entity? We are not. If you can learn how to focus inwardly, you also see infinity. Now, this is heavy shit, man. This is heavy stuff. I wrote about this. It's in my book if you want to read it. But just hear it out. You don't have to read it. Just listen to what I'm saying. Right? Is infinitely smaller particles. And if you disagree with that notion, if you disagree that internally to smaller and smaller particles get infinitely smaller, if you disagree with that, you tell me, if you get to a smaller particle, the smallest particle that there possibly is, it's composed of other things. You can always continue to travel inward. And here's the speculation that I think, which is probably revolutionary or probably never really realized. But infinity outward and infinity inward probably meet at some point. Because it's not linear. It's not a linear kind of flat going one direction. It's circular. Right? The universe is a fucking snail shell. It's a circle, right? It's circular. Right? So based on that, infinity outward and infinity inward probably meet at some point. So if you have nothing to do today and you think you have a little too much serenity and too much feel good in your mind, think about that for a while. Look up into space and think about what I just told you about infinity, and then look at your hand and look at the trillions and trillions of cells in your hand, or have the courage, have the audacity, the courage to sit quietly and observe your thoughts, and observe yourself, be a witness to yourself. Right? Do that shit for a while and see how that works out for you. The CEO, what else are we talking about here? How experts? The CEO of YouTube has specifically said that the platform would block people suggesting vitamin C has beneficial effects on helping one recover from coronavirus. Could you imagine that? If you say vitamin C can help benefit someone from recovering from coronavirus, that they would deplatform you for that? And meanwhile, Mr. Fish Eyes can say that the sun, suddenly from out of nowhere, vitamin D is a hormone and that you need it. What is this? Experts, and everybody's a fucking expert. Who's the expert? YouTube is now an expert on vitamin C. Why don't they just shut up? The censorship shit is really, really bad. And I don't know. I mean, I'll just keep talking until they shut me off, because, what else can you do, right? What else can you do? You can keep talking about it. Right? So vitamin C is under fire. This, of course, done in the name of science, because everything ought to be done in the name of science in the West. No more common sense. You got to have science and experts. Some idiot has to tell you this. You can't take a vitamin and mineral regimen and drink water and lose weight. I'm down 20 pounds. I lost 20 motherfucking pounds. You know, and it wasn't really difficult. It just, I made up my mind that I wasn't going to consume junk, and I was going to train. I was going to run. And I run now fast. I don't jog anymore. I literally probably running around 8 minutes a mile, 9 minutes a mile for a while, for like 5 miles. I go. And heavy, deep breathing, and and then yoga, right? So I do that now. And I feel so much better, so much clearer, so much lighter on my feet. So much more connected. That is the evidence that you need to follow. Why is that so difficult? How you feel, right? When you chant, right? Hare Krishna, right? When how you feel is far more has far more positive implications than what some idiot expert scientist tells you. You borrow from the scientists. They say, "Hey, look, we found a new vitamin. Hey, we found something that might work for COVID. Great, fantastic. What did you find? Vitamin D and vitamin C, and you got some jerk offs like YouTube telling you that they're going to shut you off if you talk about it. See the problem there? Truth, science versus the government muddying up the waters. And why do people do this? What is the vested interest in, or was the vested interest in convincing people of experts and scientists? Because they want to sell you something. They want to sell you that shit. You discover like the marijuana wars that are going on, that this plant has had healing effects for centuries, and it's been viewed as a controlled substance. It's something very, very bad, and people who use this are bad people and criminals. That's a bad stereotype, right? That's the fundamental problem with marijuana, is that it's still considered bad by many, many people. And so many people experience very, very positive effects of that substance, so long as you don't abuse it, if you don't go into the area of abuse. I would say also, a little wine once in a while probably is not going to hurt anybody, right? But that's a choice, right? Those sorts of things are a choice. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So this is science. Science, right? This is Newton's law of physics, right? Gravity. F is, what is F? What does F mean? F is gravity. And G, M1, M2 is the size of objects divided by the distance, R. And G is a gravitational constant, right? So here's a scientific way, a mathematical way to explain gravity, right? We have these things. These are great finds. But why not have on the same piece of paper say, you are what you eat? Something as simple as that. The phrase "you are what you eat" is as powerful as Newton's law of gravity, theory of gravity, right? Or Einstein's relativity. It's the same. You are what you eat. You are, right? Why is that so profound? If you eat well and you exercise, you're gonna be in a better place. And the medical profession doesn't want you to be in that better place. They want you to be sick and suffering, so that you can come crawling on your fucking knees and ask them for help, and spend your money to get healthy, and which you never do because you're listening to the wrong people. You're supposed to be traveling infinitely inner, not to some cockheads, standing in front of you and health. That's the fundamental problem, right? That's how I see it, and that's a professional opinion, right? I'm an expert. I'm a nutrition expert. I am. I did it. I was there. I have the degree to prove it. It's in my drawer. It's been there for years. So anyway, experts. Let's continue, man. Let's continue. So YouTube is. Get into politics. All right. So Trump's going to be reelected. I think. I don't think he's going to. I really don't think he's going to win. So we have some experts in the field. Experts. Let's see. So John says quinine keeps your blood cells slippery enough that viruses don't attach as easy. So there's an opinion. That's good, right? And I know John. John is an expert. John is an expert. Says that quinine. So quinine is in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't quinine in fucking ginger ale or something? Bill Conte. Will Conte's here. Bill Conte. I've been smoking weed for 40 years, says Bill Conte. I hold a doctoral degree. Tell me again how it makes you stupid. You can't argue with that, right? So it's just, the thing with drugs is that some people abuse it, and that is a problem. And I've experienced that. I've experienced going down the fucking, the shitter, with very powerful drug. And that was many years ago. But it's also the stigma that causes that. That's what I was trying to say about marijuana, is that there's a stigma, a legality. And what's up, Bill? What's up, Will? What's up, Bill? My brother, my cuz. What's up, cuz? Good to see you in there. Good to see you, man. And I can attest that Bill is a very, very smart man, a very educated man with many experiences. And so he weighs in to tell us. And there's another expert. John is an expert that I know has also said. So experts, are we experts? We are experts on ourselves. When someone says, you should do this, I say, fuck you. But when someone says, this is what I do, like what Bill Conte just said. Will Conte just said that I smoke weed. I have for years and years and years, and I hold a doctorate, and I'm an outstanding citizen, an outstanding person, an outstanding human being. So I listen to that. He's not telling me what to do. He's telling us what he did. What he did. I don't tell anybody what to do. I sit here and I tell you what I did. What I fucking do. This is what I do for myself. And here's the benefit. I feel like when I see people my age, I got to tell you this. When I see people my age, I'm in my 50s, mid 50s. And this is not me tooting my own horn. I'm just telling you that this can be for you. This is my current experience. When I see people my age, like overweight, huffing and puffing, coming up the stairs, that equates to cloudy mind, like a shitty mind, like your mind is not clear. And I stand next to them, perfectly balanced, perfectly straight, breathing the proper way, having eaten the proper foods, having drank enough water, and meditated and being perfectly clear. I say to myself, without a doubt, unequivocally, 100%, I am doing it. I am taking care of myself the right way. And that poor slob is killing themselves. On the way, go. You know what you do? Go to a hospital and just sit there and watch how many sick people crawl into the fucker, or in front of a doctor's office. Go into a doctor's office and sit there and see all the sick people. There's a lot of sick people in this world, and only you can save yourself by listening to others that have done it. That's the way you do it. You don't listen to people that tell you what to do. When someone tells you what to do, guess what? They're fucking wrong. Because there's no what you do for yourself may not work for me. And what I do for myself may not work for you. You've got to find what works. And then you got to be able to evaluate what works for you. That's what I'm trying to say about expert opinion and science. Science is rigged. Experts are paid shills. A doctor trains himself in treating disease. Right? That's what he does. Do you think that a doctor wants to see disease go away? No, because that's all he knows. That's his gig is up. If people get healthy, his gig is up. And which I think is the where we're heading anyway. I think whether we like it or not, we're heading towards a universal healthcare system where prevention is at the forefront. It has to be, rather than treating disease. If you want to do universal health care and you want to do it cheap and you want to make people better, that's what you do. You shift the focus to prevention. For example, if a fat person comes in, they're obese, rather than give them high blood pressure medications, you give them a prescription to the fat farm down the block, right? And you say, this is what you have to do. You want to quarantine people for COVID-19? Quarantine them because they can't stop eating and they can't stop using illegal drugs and killing themselves. Right? I take that back. You got people move towards prevention, move towards preventive measures is where healthcare needs to go, right? And everybody becomes their own expert. So that's that on that shit, right? So let's talk about the election. Donald J. Trump is going to be the president of the United States again. It's going to be rough. Like I said, I got my absentee ballot right here. I'm going to walk down the block on a Saturday morning, and I'm not going to walk. It's actually far away, and I'm going to run 5 miles first, and then I'm going to exercise, and then I'm going to go inside, and I'm going to push the button, maybe record it, for Donald J. Trump, because that's just the way it should be today. I forgot what I was going to say, man. That shit happens, man. See, that's the only dilemma with age. Sometimes you just forget what you're going to say, and that's okay, man. I like that. I like falling into the void sometimes. It's just like, because it makes me realize that most of what I'm saying is opinion, and I'm not entirely not full of shit. I'm full of shit as like anybody else. But I'm professing my shit to you so that you can understand. We have to have communication. There is a level of bullshit in communication, but for the most part, I don't know what I'm talking about. So the Kremlin says U.S. elections have become competition in Russophobia. 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 It's a new word. So. And it is, right? The Russia thing is just a scam and a ripoff. I played Trump's clip earlier. He said it. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. And it turned out that Trump was right. It was a hoax. Of course it was a hoax. We know where Russiagate evolved. That was the Democrats' idea to stab Bernie Sanders and then put it on Trump. This week's perhaps overly dramatic announcement Wednesday night by the heads of multiple federal agencies, foremost among Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe, allegedly new major efforts of Russia and Iran to interfere in the U.S. presidential election, formed the key question and talking point by debate moderator Christian Welker at Thursday night's debate. Now, she did great. I liked her. I thought she only showed her liberal color a little bit. She was a little short with Trump and a little more lenient with Biden, but she warmed up to Trump, which was very was admirable. I don't know who got in her head, but she was definitely let Trump go after Biden. She let them debate and attack each other. That's what debates are. You don't interject your opinion. You let them kill each other. And then you say who's still standing. It's a duel. That's what debates are. They're fucking duels. They're mental duels. And if you don't like it, don't get in the ring. Don't do it. But you're as the moderator, all you should do, you're like the referee in the game. You're like the boxing ref. If they're getting too edgy, you just pull them apart. You don't sit there and school the other one unless it's a low blow. And there are no low blows in debate. What are you going to do? Say, your mother. What are you going to do? There's no low blows. They're all lying. They're both lying. So this is interesting. Welker even referenced as somehow the undisputed and settled truth that now debunked Russian boundaries, the Russian boundary story. And I remember when Welker said that. She says the undisputed Russiagate. Right? It's not undisputed. It's highly disputed. It's highly proven to be not true. That Russiagate evolved out of the Hillary Clinton campaign in February, March of 2016. And then when they got caught, it evolved into Bernie Sanders did it. Bernie Sanders is a Russian agent. when they got caught cheating. That was the backstory. That was the backup story. And then when Clinton finally defeated or cheated Bernie Sanders out of the nomination, and Bernie Sanders folded like a cheap suit, they then took the Russia story and pinned it on Trump. That's where Russiagate started. There was no hack. There was no fucking hack in the DNC. That was a leak. That was some brave soul took the information and threw it out there. But nonetheless, I want you to hear the words of the Russian guy. Russia was certainly paying attention to the debate and was not amused. The Kremlin on Friday blasted what it said was Russophobia at the center of the debate. I don't know if it was the center, but it was a big part of Biden's vernacular. Russia. He even blamed Trump's unraveling of Biden and Hunter Biden's story of stealing money or taking money from China and Ukraine. That Biden went as far as to say that's Russia too. Russia is behind the story. No, it's not. The guy standing next to you, Trump, is behind the story. Well, then then Russia's behind Trump. It's so fucking stupid. Right. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Friday that competition in Russophobia has become a constant in all U.S. election processes, regrettably. So I don't know what I wanted to say about this, but nonetheless, Russophobia is still epic going on right now, and hopefully it'll lessen. I don't know, man. If Biden cheats his way in, I think we're in a bad way. I think I just don't see it happening. I mean, there's no absolutes, and I would like to see Trump ride it out 4 more years and have a legitimate a Democratic Party reformed Democratic Party that meets the Republican Party halfway, right? Somewhere where they have an actual fair and balanced party. I don't know if that's even possible in the U.S. anymore. And, but again, in my view, universal health care as we knew it, as we were trying to get it under Bernie Sanders, will never happen. But a new form of it with prevention, as I said earlier, prevention at the forefront could become a reality in our lifetimes, I think. Because you're seeing a lot of it now. I want to talk about that because you're seeing a lot of it now. You're seeing people be shamed into getting well. You're sick. Stay at home. Cover your face. Stay 6 feet away. Right? You have other ailments. No, you have COVID. Right? They're shaming people. You're more susceptible to COVID, and therefore you're more susceptible to infect others. You're a danger because you're sick. You see that kind of thinking? That plays into the hands. It's actually good for people because it's better to be fat shamed than to go on living fat. If you're fat shamed and you lose weight, that's better than staying fat. Right? It's just common sense. Right? There was the Bikram yoga guy. I love his example. People used to come to Bikram yoga. That's the hot yoga guy and the guru. And they would come there and they would start doing yoga in front of him and think they were all that, right? They would start, flexing and they were all that. And one time, just one story, it's in the documentary. Some guy, like, he's like, he didn't know what he was doing. His fat was hanging out, right? His fucking blubber. And Bikram said to him, he said, cover your fat fucking belly because I don't want to see it jiggle. He effectively fat shamed the guy, right? The guy pulled his shirt down, put his head down. It's like, you're not all that, man. Lose the fucking belly and then you're something. So fat shaming works. So to the Jew haters, the people that think Israel is behind everything, and Mossad agents. So U.S. signs commitment with Israel to uphold military edge over Gulf states. We've been doing this for years and years and years, but U.S. signed a new commitment to Israel to make sure it has better planes and bigger bombs and more aggression in the Middle East. The most. So here's Benjamin Netanyahu. Potential F-35 sales of Gulf states have driven U.S. officials to take extra steps to guarantee Israel's military superiority over its neighbors, known as qualitative military edge. So there's the U.S. spelling it out in QME, that we will always support Israel to have a military advantage over its neighbors. Right? And Israel lives in a bad neighborhood. They got who's next to them? Syria, Jordan. They're surrounded by Syria, Jordan. I think a little piece of Saudi Arabia. I might be wrong about that, but who's fucking Israel? Israel. I hate being wrong about that shit. Israel map. Where's the map of fucking Israel, man? Israel map. Where are we in the world? Let's look. Hello, Google. Yeah, so Israel's in a really bad neighborhood. Look at the neighborhood they live in. Yeah, a little piece of it I'm sorry, Egypt, not Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's all the way down here. But oh no, it does. No, it doesn't touch. Israel doesn't quite touch. Oh, it does. Here it is. It touches. It does. I was right. So here's Israel. It has Egypt on one side, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, right? Jordan, and Syria, and a little bit of Iraq hits Jordan. So very bad neighborhood. Totally fucking despised, right? People hate Israel. They hate fucking Israel, and Israel sets up camp there. So we got to protect them. And it's widely acknowledged that if the U.S. pulled its support of Israel, within 3 weeks, Israel would fold. It would go down in a blaze. It would use all its weaponry and blow people the hell up. But it would cease to exist without our support. And that is the truth. But on Thursday, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper and Israel Defense Minister Benny Gantz met at the Pentagon and signed a joint declaration affirming Washington's commitment to ensure Israel's QME. So we're still in bed. I hate to tell you, but I don't like it. I don't like Israel for the sole reason that they are an apartheid state, that they suppress the Palestinian people and have not found a way to coexist. If you want to be a shining star, don't push all the Palestinians and claim that they're all fucking terrorists. They're fighting for their homeland. They were there first. Before the Jew took over in the 1940s, because the United States said all Jews should have a homeland, and let's call it Israel. Meanwhile, you had 3 million Palestinians living there for 5,000 years. So you can't just eliminate people, and until they solve that problem and the manipulation of their ability to manipulate the United States government, fuck you, Israel. You're on your own. Americans are panic buying. Is this you? Is this you in the Midwest? Is this you in gun country? Americans are panic buying military and survivalist gear 2 weeks before election. Ooh, why? Why so? Do you think that we are heading for civil war? Are people fearful of civil war? Do you think that? Give me a one if you think that there's any validity to panic buying military and survivalist gear right now. 1, it's a good idea because we're heading for violent times. Or 2, it's the opposite thing. The opposite is going to happen. People are going to wake up and stop being violent. Which way do you think that the United States is going? Ultra violence or ultra peace? 1 is ultra violence, 2 is ultra peace. I'll say I've thought about this quite a bit. I think I'm going to give it a 2. I might be the only one, but I'll go on the record as saying 2. I got a couple of 1s. People are saying 1. Calinto Bragante says 2. Mostly 1s. Vinny says 1. Vinny DiMartini says 1. Tony Yao says 1. George's son 1. Jason Walsh 1. Yeah, I don't know, man. Could be wrong. Dalone Voice says 2. Orange Man says 3. There was no 3. Neil Delta says 1.5. Yeah, you could be right. Could be a mix of both. But you can't be violent and peaceful at the same time. Is that possible? Right. I don't know. Peaceful with a gun? or not peaceful. You can be peaceful with a gun, of course, but you can't be peaceful shooting a gun at somebody when they don't deserve it. So anyway, and finally, our free and fair elections that we think we have. Look at this. San Francisco tech CEO emails 10 million customers urging them to vote for Joe Biden. That's just one. That's just one of many, many texts plugging for Joe Biden. Does it work? Yeah, it works. It works. It works. Twitter, Facebook, Google, CNN, MSNBC, all plugging for the Democratic shill, the dead guy. Why? Because they think they're going to get more. They are. They're going to get more from Biden than they would from Trump. And that is the simple reason. That is the simple fact. Humans would, earthlings in the U.S. would get a little more from Trump, theoretically, than they would from Biden. They can get a lot more from an honest broker. Getting both of these two screwballs out of the way would get, something closer, a country of the people, by the people, for the people. The three branches of power, the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches, right? We can get all these we can put our politics back to work for us, that work for the people and not the corporations. I came up with something a long time ago, and I simply said that our Constitution has been replaced by corporate oligarchs that then pay off everybody else. So what used to be above the branches of power used to be the voice of the people, and now it's the voice of the corporations. Unless you change that, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to change things for the better for all people. It's just going to get closer and closer to what people argue as communism, where you'll do as you're told or you'll starve to death. I don't know. You don't have to do this job, but if you don't, we'll put you outside and you'll starve to death. Right, that sort of shit is what's going on. What else we got here? One more. 2 decades after 9/11, Pentagon is providing covert air support for the Taliban. So these are the experts, all the experts at the Pentagon. Now it's in their best interest. Remember how horrible the Taliban was. Oh, fucking Taliban, towel heads, the sand Negroes, right? Fucking get them, blow them up. I blow up the fucking Taliban, right? But now, and ISIS is gone, thank you, Donald Trump, because ISIS was a figment of the United States' imagination, propping up rebel forces in Syria and what was that other place? Below fucking, I should have left the map up. Below Saudi Arabia. What was that place? Saudi Arabia. I didn't even come close to spelling it right, but look at the map. Saudi Arabia. Yemen. Fucking Yemen, right? Yemen, what a mess, right? Right below Saudi Arabia, all these countries. This was a breeding ground, not Oman because they're wealthy, but Yemen and Syria and a lot of bombers come out of these places. Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Kakakistan, right? Not Pakistan, but I don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's time to wrap it up. But what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so now the Pentagon, why is the Pentagon supporting the Taliban to fight ISIS that has been fucking booted out of the country a long time ago? Nearly 2 decades ago, following 9/11 and the initial invasion of Afghanistan, we remember, which obstinately had as its objective the removal and destruction of hardline Islamic Taliban government. The United States military is providing covert support for the same outlawed Taliban, with the latest aim of booting ISIS from the country. What fucking ISIS? Where? How's ISIS getting any foothold unless we're paying them to do it? Or Saudi Arabia is paying them to do it, to create the opposition, to create the military-industrial complex, to create the conflict so we can get another fucking war so a couple of billionaires can make more money on the killing is really what it is, right? But you see, the point, I think, is is that listening to the Pentagon, right? They were telling us all along, Taliban and ISIS, bad. Now they're supporting one of the bad to get the other bad out of office, and so be it, right? That's what's fucking going on in the world, right? That's what's happening. That is what's happening in the world. I don't want to listen to that. Nah. No. This one. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Mark Conte reporting. Thank you all for being here on my the last of the last in New York City. Wow, I can't believe it's almost over, man. I can't believe it. I'm feeling very emotional. I feel my inner child is hurting because I'm ready to tear up my roots, and I'm ready to put my money where my mouth is, because I got a big mouth. And now I've been talking about how wonderful it is to travel and be in the country. And now I'm leaving my comfort zone, New York City, for a while, or maybe forever, or at least I'll be a tourist in New York. And New York changes. That's the problem. New York changes. When you're not in New York, man, everything changes really fast. It's different. You have to keep coming back to check up on it. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I will be documenting everything. All my new location. I have a drum set in the room, man. Awesome, man. I love it, man. I love it, man. I'm growing as a young man. A young man. Go out and vote, man. I'm gonna do it. If you're in New York, right? Go vote for Trump, man. At least you get your shit in the mail, right? If you didn't get your shit in the mail, I think you just walk in, you find out where the polling station is, and then you just walk in and tell them I want to vote. I'll take the vote, man. Thank you, man. Peace out.